every so often I come across someone, a being online, and immediately I get the sense that this is someone I must connect with. This is someone that I want to hear more from. Um, and um, although prior to this, Beck and I hadn't yet known each other, it was very clear knowing that she would be here. It was very clear knowing that I was to invite her to share in our space. And I'm really looking forward to, alongside you, getting to learn from her. Because from what I've seen, she's doing some amazing work in the world. And today she's here to teach and speak to awakening your higher purpose through a path or a way that perhaps some of us may not have explored. So I'm going to leave her to provide with that sort of introduction. But Becca, I want to first spotlight you, get you down to mute, and say welcome. Thank you in advance for all that you're about to share with us.
Oh, with great honor, Brian. Thank you so much. That was such a beautiful meditation to start today. The energy yesterday was absolutely incredible. And I just, first of all, just want to say thank you to you and to the Ascend team for all of the energy that you've put forward to bring so many hearts together, because this is exactly how we are recreating our future in the most beautiful way. So thank you for this opportunity.
It's my honor. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I do have a PowerPoint to share today.
Yeah.
It's going to help me stay on track.
Go ahead and see if you can share from there.
Perfect. Wow, beautiful souls. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you. Today, I want to share with you a little bit about what my life's journey has been and how I have been inspired to share with others. One of my greatest passions is to really find and facilitate the techniques, the ways in which we can understand better who we are, where we have been, most importantly, our history, our galactic history, all of our awareness within ourselves, how to access these memories within ourselves, primarily for the one great gift that we can realize that we are the future for our future generations. And that the more and more we embody living our own soul's purpose within this lifetime, the more that we can be that catalyst for our children, for our grandchildren, for our great-grandchildren, and future generations, so that we can be the support that I know many of you, I know for myself, wish that we would have had during certain times when we were growing up and we didn't understand a lot of the energy that we were feeling. We didn't understand a lot of the things that were moving through our body, or why we were experiencing some of the things that we were experiencing. And so today, through this presentation, I really meditated with the guardians to really see how to facilitate it. And this is going to be shared in a little bit of what we might call the Eridanus Star Nation style, where it's really going to be a blending of heart and mind. So there's going to be a bit of information that I want to share with each of you today, as far as some of the ways in which we can understand on a mental level what we are processing and what we are feeling through our body. But on a heart-based level, how we get to be this greater aspect of who we are. And that as we get to explore all of this, as we get to explore some of the tools that we have, that we're going to actually realize, I don't know if any of you guys have ever wondered this, but I always did. It was always like this phrase being, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be amazing if life came with an owner's manual? If we could figure out how to understand our life, our energy, how we are working in this life. And the truth is that we do have an owner's manual. It's just something that we didn't remember that we had access to. And that within this owner's manual, that it can really help us answer the question of what is our life's purpose? Why am I here? So today we are going to talk a bit about the sacred geometry that is you. We're going to touch on some of the sacred initiation practices that were taught from the sacred serpent priestess lineage, the Hathors, during the Lemurian and Atlantean times that are really from the motherland of Mu. And we're going to touch on how to read our soul's records from the living language of our DNA. So as we get to explore this, one of the primary things I want to start with is the sacred cycles, the great cycles. And that there are eternal cycles that happen within our cosmology, within our cosmic body, in this beautiful universal body that we live within. And that as we start to understand these cycles on a more intimate level within ourselves, we are going to begin to see our placement within these cycles and our eternal nature, the eternal nature of our spirit. And that even starting with just this one cycle, which is actually depicting for us the great year, that we can know that our North Pole is never always the same, that it changes throughout these 25,000 year to close to 26,000 year cycles. And that within this time, it changes between different planetary systems. It moves between Polaris in Ursa Minor, it moves to Vega, to Thuban within the Draco system. And there are other smaller alignments that it aligns with within these different times. But each of these times are epochs, are eras that have significant influences primarily on our consciousness. And that as we get to understand our consciousness, that a lot of this conversation today that the guides wanted to bring us through is about how these cycles influence our consciousness, how this great year is determined is by a planetary system or a star system that many of us resonate with, which is the Sirius star system. That when we start to expand beyond just our own solar system, which is already in itself an expansion for us. For many of us growing up, it was mostly Earth that we thought about. Many of us might have looked at the stars and wondered what was beyond the stars, but a lot of the teachings weren't quite at the place that they are right now, where we were exploring as much as we were or are now as a child. And so within this experience, we get to actually understand that this is ancient wisdom that was once very common upon the earth about these great cycles. And that these great cycles hold within us the understanding that when our sun and the Sirius star system are at its furthest point from each other, this is what we might call the darker ages of the consciousness within our mind, the places where we might see things from a more earth-based perspective, or where fear has been more of a prominent energy upon the earth. But as we can start to see that when these two star bodies start to come together, the reason why the enlightenment begins to happen is because light is knowledge, light is consciousness. And so therefore, as our sun is starting to increase in its solar activity, and as our ecliptic with the Sirius star system is coming into a closer cycle, our consciousness is how we are experiencing this expansion within us. And I want to just kind of even show some of how this is working. That we can know that we are at a time where the ancient knowledge is actually starting to come back. It's an insurgence of this energy, of this blue ray wisdom. And the blue ray wisdom is really the law of one teachings, the teachings of unity consciousness, the teachings that are triggering us to remember our ancient knowledge that has actually always been here, anchored upon the earth, but many of it, through many of the cataclysms, through many of the wars, and through many of the different ways in which it has been hidden, has been buried or covered up. but that these cycles actually bring very specific timelines for us when the knowledge begins to become uncovered again, and that there's no accident to how these become uncovered, because truly, as our consciousness becomes ready to receive the information again, we start to find that many of these ancient wisdoms will be unburied, rediscovered. Archaeological dig sites will many times reveal some of the things that when we see it, it's like this aha that we have in our cells, in our DNA, and in our heart. We're going to talk about how that is so important for how we get our records and our memories back. So just even looking back very, very recent, I wanted to go just incredibly recent into times when we can really understand on a personal level that we could know that from the 1800s, like about the mid to later 1800s, this was a time when a lot of this blue ray wisdom was starting to come back. And this was through a lot of the teachings of Rudolf Steiner, Helena Blavatsky, and the information of the Kumaras and the seven rays. And whether or not this is something that you have studied or that you are interested in or not, that really what we get to understand within this information is that it started to bring back into our planetary consciousness this questioning, this remembrance, and a lot of the desire to start to go back and study the ancient texts. And as that started to embed within our consciousness, that in 1945, there was an incredible discovery that was made with the Nag Hammadi text. And this created an incredible new wave of energy upon our planet. That as this happened, it started to create a new wave of going back and exploring all of the Gnostic teachings. All of these Gnostic teachings that hold these ancient wisdoms that were sharing with us our Earth's history, the greater history, history that we had to start to question. Who are we? Where have we been? Where did we come from? And where are we going? And within this information, as many of these questions started to really shake up our consciousness again, that one of the key times in our consciousness was in 1987 with the harmonic convergence. And I really like to pinpoint this time because I feel like this is one of the key times when it started to take a lot of our consciousness and start to break it out in the open. That the harmonic convergence was just a powerful time of a star system alignment that started to allow the consciousness of humanity to begin to look to the stars. This was right around the time that we started to have the information of the Seth Speaks material. That was around the end of the 70s. And right around the late 80s, we really started to get teachings from Barbara Masiniak, Alex Polier, Ashiana Dean, things that started to make us really go, wow, something feels as though I am more than just this human life, just this human body. Where did I come from? What is the greater questions? Who is truly influencing this earth? And as this consciousness came through, 1987 is actually when human design was even gifted to the astrological community. And as it was brought to the community, this is another tool that really started to, I believe, help assist astrology in a really big way to start to become the very valid science that it is, as far as how it teaches us our own internal blueprint, who we are, how we are connected not only to the stars, but to the archetypes of the energy that the star holds, so that we can begin to learn to manage the energy that moves through us, so that it isn't something that is just pushing us back and forth throughout the planetary and the cosmic cycles, but we start to begin able to navigate the seas of emotions within ourselves. And as we know, 2012 and all of the energy that's really just awakened through there, I really wanted to bring these timelines through, because as we get to see that we are really in a powerful window up until 2027, the next 5 years of time. And everywhere from the next 5 to 7 years, we have an incredible new transition that is happening for us. And so we are truly the teachers, We are truly the ones that get to be laying the foundation for our future generations. And the more and more that we get to be in a place of understanding all of the limitations that we have inside that hold us back from shining, from standing out. And, these limitations, these are something that, are they limitations? From my perspective, and this is my personal perspective in this time, is that, all of the challenges that I was gifted to go through within this lifetime have become my greatest resources, my greatest gifts. And it has helped me to explore all of these things that we get to talk about today. And primarily, this again is part of my passion for that. The more you and I come together, the more that we get to be the pillars of light and the anchors for our future generations. Because in this moment in time, as we are feeling the great catalyst of change of these incredible cycles that we are going through, we are feeling it on a very intense level within us. The awakening process isn't just rainbows and butterflies. Many of us are feeling it through some intense emotional experiences. Maybe it's causing us to really create new relationships with those around us, to learn to create better boundaries within our life, to learn to say yes or to say no to the things within our life. And every time that we step more and more into our strength, our understanding, and our own internal alignment, many times that which has not been in alignment with us begins to kind of explode within our reality. And it becomes those places where we get to love whatever challenges that we have ever gone through in order to realize how much they have given us the opportunity to create the strength that we are today. So as we get to explore how we are a part of the great cycle, that we get to not only honor the ancestors of the past, but we're going to go back even a little bit further, that it's beyond Atlantean times, beyond even Lemurian times, that when we start to get to kind of see our star families, that we're going to realize that acknowledging the energy of the ancestors isn't about just going back and living off of the land with no technology, no running water, no conveniences or anything like that. That in truth, it was when many of the distortions started to happen upon the earth that our consciousness began to fall. And when our consciousness began to fall, we lost many of the advanced technologies that we once had upon the earth. So this is kind of a great awakening time as we get to see our cycle of our sun connecting again to the energy of their Sirius star system, this binary pair. That we are going to not only see an awakening of coming back into the earth for all of us that are being called to come back into our body, put our feet back in the earth, come back into attunement within ourselves, that we are also going to have the opportunity to sense and feel how we get to merge this now with the universal technologies that create advancement within our healthcare, within how we run our power systems upon the planet, how we begin to heal and clean the planet. And so I want to say that as we start to connect to the ancestors, it's not about going backwards, but it's about moving forwards with the ancient wisdom that we once held, remembering the records within ourselves so that we can be the catalyst for these incredible children that are being born right now, children that are already on the earth, children that are choosing to be born very, very soon, who are going to be the incredible beings upon this planet that are going to implement all of these incredible things we dream about upon this earth. And this is what is so exciting to me, that the more and more you and I do this work, the more we are facilitating that change by being the anchors for it. That as we get to remember where we have been, we get to know where we are going. And as we evolve, that this evolution is about moving away from war, from violence, from service to self, and helping us to progress in consciousness through the sciences, exploration, and all of these are within alignment within the cosmic laws. So again, this is about learning how to reconnect again within our light bodies. And that part of the ancient teachings in so many ways was about learning the mechanics of our spiritual body. So that as we connect to our higher self, we begin to remerge again and learn to transcend the lower body, the lower realms, the lower desires of the body in order to return back home to the stars. So with this, I want to just share this one beautiful quote, and this is from the Skidi Pawnee Star Nation. They are an indigenous tribe within the North Americas. And their quote was this, that when the time comes for things to end, our people will turn into small stars and will fly to the South Star where they belong. When the time comes for the ending of the world, the stars will again fall to the earth. They will mix amongst the people, for it will be a message to the people to get ready to be turned into stars. I just feel like this is incredibly beautiful because in a lot of ways, as we start to really work with the term starseed, light workers, that we think about this idea of coming from the stars, being a part of the stars, and that in truth, yes, that we are, and that as we can understand who we are as a star being, that we can embrace our star fire within. And I love how they just mentioned this, that it's the star beings, it's the star light. When the ending of the world, when they are referring to this, they are referring to the completion of cycles. They are working with cycles. And as we get to, again, understand our placement within the cycles, we can see how powerful this time is for us to start to drop anything and everything that doesn't serve us so that we can be the star fire that we came here to be. And that as we mix amongst the people, that it will be a message for the people to be ready to turn into stars. I also wanted to show that within here, they had many incredible maps of the stars, and that within this, there was no mistaking of knowing where they came from, who they were, and where they were going. And within this, as we begin to return to the stars, that we can understand we were born with our own star signature and our own star song, that our own astrological blueprint holds for us our song that we sing within ourselves, and that the stars sing inside of us. We are star seeds. If we even feel called to seek this information, if we have felt any resonance within our heart to go out and to find more and to learn more about any of this information, that is all the validation that we need. And that our path is to just be on this path of saying, I have my own heart song. And that there is a geometry, I love this by Pythagoras, is that there is a geometry in the human stream. There is music in the spacing of the spheres. And I want to just kind of highlight this, not only with these strings within our DNA and the spheres within our DNA. Pythagoras is an incredible starseed soul. He came at a time to teach primarily the wisdom of the Law of One teachings. He was a blue ray teacher. He is a Capella starseed. And as a Capellan starseed, one of his primary missions that he taught, I just absolutely love the way that he would share many things, was that we are eternal. So who you are in this lifetime has ramifications. It has ripples within time, within the universe. So who you are in this body and in this lifetime matters, because it is going to play out in your next lifetime, in your next lifetime, in your next lifetime. He was very much a proponent for teaching the importance of integrity within one's lifetime because of our ripples through time, through reincarnation. He learned through the Atlantean teachings, but these Atlantean teachings that he learned from, that he brought to Greece, were from the original Mu teachings from the motherland of Mu, the ancient teachings of which the Atlanteans perpetuated and moved on. And through Pythagoras, one of the main things that he brought to the wisdom was this ancient wisdom from the Mu motherland of numbers, the sacredness of numbers, the sacredness of geometry, the sacredness of the language of mathematics and who we are. And so part of our learning as we begin to embrace ourselves into attuning ourselves through mindfulness, beginning to pay attention to ourselves, that yes, this is going to be about stepping into our pillars of integrity, learning to live law of one practices. But this is also about us learning the sacred sciences again, that within the times of Atlantis, Lemuria, and Mu, we were incredibly educated. We were working with astronomy, astrology, with the mathematics, with the architecture, with the placement of the stars. And that as we understood this, that we understood that we are a star, that we understood that our alignment and how our frequencies resonated. When you really read a lot of these ancient wisdoms, they go down to the nuances of the electron, the proton, the neutron, the star fire within ourselves, how the polarities balance within ourselves. And as we get to understand that we get to see that these vibrations were in alignment with many of the stars. We have alignments to the Sirius star system within many of the stargates, such as in Peru. We have many alignments to the Orion stargates, such as the pyramids within Giza, and that many of these sacred structures align to these star systems because we understood the gateways and the way in which our soul travels. And so as we get to be here and understand this again, that we get to allow ourselves to be the starfire that we are. And when I say starfire, I literally mean it, that we have the stars within us. And that we know without a doubt, as we even see from this image from HeartMath, that how we hold our vibrations and our frequencies, how we shine matters. Because we are creating a gravitational field, just as a star does, just as our sun does, and we rotate like through the gravity field of the sun. You are a solar or a star being. Therefore, the energy that you hold begins to create a gravitational force around you. And the more and more you emanate a powerful gravitational field, the more that you allow others to orbit within your aura and your energy and begin to attune to the wisdom, the teachings, the vibration, and that which you are holding in attunement and alignment for what you want the future here on earth to be. And so as we get to hold this, that we get to now see the stars as part of our larger family. They are literally a part of our genetic blueprint and imprint within us. And that is, we understand the codings of the light language within our DNA, that these light codings come from the language of many of the different star systems. And how we can start to find this within ourselves is through the fixed stars, is through our astrological placements. If any of you got to see Julia Balaz's presentation yesterday, I invite you to check that out. She and Hector have created an incredible website where you can put your birth chart information in there to begin to see some of your alignments to the fixed stars. But why does this matter? Because wherever our soul has been, wherever we have incarnated, all of this remains within the records of our DNA. Our DNA holds within us the memories of everywhere we have ever been. And it is held within these genetic codings and imprints. And these are held through what we like to call the light language or the fire letters. But they are actual letters and sequences that are constantly being repatterned within ourselves. And we see these through the amino acid sequences and the hydrogen bonding that we actually can physically see here in this earth realm. But these codes have different letters within them. They are actual letters, and many of the letters come from the star nations that we have been a part of. So if you have resonance with the Sirius star system or Arcturus or Vegas, it is literally written right within your DNA. And as you hold that record within your DNA, not only does it give you the gifts, the qualities, and the memories of who you were within that lifetime, but we also hold the energy of all of the different galactic memories of what has happened through those historical timelines. And we know that many times there are things that we feel within our life and in our body in this life that just don't make sense. Sometimes we might feel things within us and we don't understand why we might have a fear or a worry or a pain or some sort of energy that just calls us from our heart to be aware of or to send love to it. And many times these are coming from galactic histories. Maybe it was Lyran Wars. Maybe it was the Orion Wars. Maybe it was the Pleiadian or the Electric Wars. There are many different histories within that hold the records of these larger family trees. And if any of you have ever been familiar with family constellations, we are going to understand that even in this human body, whether or not you knew your mother and your father or any of the ancestors before them, you hold within your genetics the ringing, the song, and the sound, primarily of that which is calling forth to be healed. And so within us, we start to get to see that we are part of a greater family tree. We are made of the stars. We are not just figuratively, but literally. We hold the neutrinos within us. We hold the fire letters within us from these star systems. And that as all of these are being played out through the genetics of our DNA, the DNA therefore encodes our vehicle, our body. And that our body is an incredibly advanced biological system that our soul and spirit uses. So our body is the vehicle. And this is really the wisdom of the motherland of Mu, was that we are eternal through our spirit within ourselves. And that our body will come and our body will go. And we may have many, many bodies. And that when our body, we utilize it, it becomes our vehicle for the way for our spirit to flow through it. But that our body sings the song within it of all of our ancestors before us. And therefore, if we can learn to capture these songs, these messages within our body, we become the catalyst of healing and change right within ourselves. And that we learn this blueprint within us is not about us being a victim or having gone through challenging things. That in fact, many times the challenging things we went through was just a way for our soul to bring it to our awareness in our lifetime so that we could become aware of it. We have the right to be sovereign beings. And part of our knowledge that we are returning to us is to learn where the programs are that are filtering through our physical body, what is ours and what is not ours. And the truth is that up to 99% of the thoughts, the feelings, and the emotions that we have before we start to do our internal work, up to 99% is not even us. It doesn't even belong to us. So in truth, our life is a gift. It's a gift to heal the ancestors. And part of it is I love these phrases, is that to help us to remember the past, that as we start to learn our galactic history, that we start to remember the past. Because if we don't remember the past, that means the cellular memory is just rotating through us. And therefore, we are repeating these cycles and these patterns. And I love this, that a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. But that our history is not our destiny. That we can stop being in the cycle of the circle and we can return again to the sacredness of the spiral. That we are never in the same spot twice, and that as we perpetuate this movement, that we can allow ourselves to begin to work with our light body energy and to begin to find the resonance within our frequency that attunes to the higher vibrations. Now, as we get to see this, I'm going to kind of move through a little bit because there's a few more slides I want to go through. One of the things I want to bring through as far as history goes, and this is from Alex Collier from Defending Sacred Ground, but I thought this was very important to bring through. And this is from an Andromedan contactee he was talking with. And they were saying, we have come to understand that withholding love only creates perpetual disintegration. We have discovered in our home galaxy the ruins of vast races achieving recognition that have ceased to exist. They destroyed themselves simply because they withheld love and drained the very life force out of their intent and imploded and destroyed their self-creation. And as we get to understand this, we have now coming back to our awareness, the sciences, to see how powerful our thoughts are, how powerful love is. Love creates sacred geometry within us. Love is in alignment with the Blue Ray or the Law of One teachings. When love is not present, the crystalline form in which we are and the hydrogen bonds that hold us together begin to deteriorate. And therefore, no matter how advanced our civilization can become, and we can see this, that we want to become very technologically advanced at this time, but that in truth, if love is not embedded within it, that we will be doomed to repeat the cycles of the past, and that these cycles of the past create deterioration within ourselves. Therefore, we implode upon ourselves. And as we look at this, that we can again start to see the larger picture. Our healing work that we do within is for planetary consciousness. It's not just about us, it's planetary consciousness. And that we are the catalyst for the healing for the future generations. That we hold the hydrogen bonds of these star systems right within us. These are our family trees. And that the hydrogen bonds, again, are exactly what helped to create this vehicle that we're in. I'm going to kind of move forward a little bit. And that these are held within the patterns that directly affect our genetics, our amino acids, our DNA within our body. And that as we begin this phrase here by Dr. Bruce Lipton, the moment you change your perception is the moment you rewrite the chemistry in your body. These ascension cycles are about awakening our consciousness through our body, our physical body, and that our body is a chemistry set. And that our body is our vehicle. And if we think about it, we could have chose any vehicle on this planet. You could have come into the vehicle of a bird, a cat, a tree, and you have the opportunity to be in this human vehicle that gives you the access to the consciousness to begin to rewrite through your own internal perceptions. And so as we begin to look at this, that we are learning to master our body in order to free our consciousness, to truly know ourselves. This is held right within our blueprint, right within our genetic patternings that are held within our star alignment. Our soul's sacred geometry is held within crystalline light patterns that have moved through different star systems. So our soul is a plasma field that holds a charge, a radiance. And so therefore, we needed, each of us individually, our own perfect alignment in order to enter into this vehicle and into this creation. Therefore, we entered in through our geometry and merged into the geometry of what was already happening upon this planet. Our geometry is no accident. And I like to invite each of you to even explore your own birth, your actual birth, and your initial childhood up to 7 years, because this is one of the primary places that our stamp of our soul's journey has come into alignment, into showing us, go on the alarm for 5 more minutes, showing us who we have come here to be and how we have come to be in assistance. And that our soul merged with matter, spirit and matter. And that as we can acknowledge this merging, that our job is to surrender our ego to our higher self and to be able to learn to read again what our owner's manual shows us, which is our larger soul's journey. Within these charts, we can find the key places we will feel challenged and blocks. the ages that we were programmed by our wounds. We can find the places and the ways in which we are challenged or blocked in our abundance and how to actually radiate this abundance within our life. We can find the cycles that play on our emotions. We can learn to work with these cycles, like surfing the waves in the ocean. So it's not a challenge, but it's fun. We can find the star nations that we are connected to, the wisdom and energy from our galactic family tree. We can begin to see where we have been so we can start to know where we are going. That as we get to understand this, that we find these stories within us through our triggers, our emotions. And the last minute that I want to share with you, just because I know this time is coming here, is that I want to just share with you one beautiful practice. Through mindfulness, is one of the main things the Guardians share is to utilize mindfulness. Be the observer, observing you. Start to live life, observing you moving through life. And that as we observe ourselves moving through life, we begin to watch the sea move through us. We watch our emotions. We watch our triggers. We watch the things that affect us. And as we begin to watch that, then we get to notice it as not us. And instead we get to honor it and say, oh, isn't that interesting? There it is. Isn't that interesting? They said that and it hurt my feelings. Isn't it interesting? That happened and I felt this. And that as we become mindful, we get to observe it and now become present with that feeling. As we become present, we begin to hear the story that it has to share so that we can honor it. We can understand where it came from. We can begin to allow it to tell us where it came from. And then therefore we can, through love, balance it, heal it, choose to delete it and uncreate it as a pattern within our reality and rewrite it as who we come here and who we choose to be. And so with that, I just want to share with you guys that when you feel these feelings, I invite you to tap into the soles of your feet. The soles of our feet are with no accident called souls because they are what connects to the earth. So the soles of our feet connect to the soul, which is also the sun of our eternal records. And as you begin to let this wisdom come back to you, and that I would invite you, I just want to share with you guys that this is, as you can see, I have a lot more I could share about this, but this is some of the information I just love to be able to share, how we empower ourselves with our wisdom. If you feel guided to check any of this out, I have lots of free resources on my YouTube channel. And I will be hosting on December 22nd, an event. It'll be at 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern Standard Time. And if you just type in there, Together We Ascend on the chat or on the contact form, that I will offer that for free for anyone here that is in this event today. I just want to say thank you so much, you guys, for letting me share this with you. I am so honored to have this little bit of an opportunity to share. You are incredible, you are important, you are part of the cycles. And the more and more we heal ourselves, the more we be here for our future generations. Thank you.
And thank you, Becca, for such an amazing time with you. You know, when I was putting this thing together, I heard another call strongly. Give her the longer session. As you might know, most of the sessions for the entire summit are only 25 minutes. And for you, it was just something telling me that we needed more time with you. And I think we all just saw why. I know I'm not the only one that would love to hear more from you. So what we're gonna do is point everyone to all that you're sharing in the world. I included the links to your work in the chat there. So thank you again for being here and for all of this. And Ascenders, thank you for